Okay, so we're going to continue with what we're doing with the Middle Eastern unit. Nice fade out there, huh? Yeah, I know, you saw me do it. But anyway, I realized I forgot to show you guys the video clip from Saudi Arabia that was listed there in the notes, and I want to make sure I get you guys seeing that. So we're going to start off with seeing the video clip from Saudi Arabia.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia lies between the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf. The country is more than 1/5 the size of the United States, and it is bordered by Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Yemen. Most of this country is a harsh desert where extreme heat during the day can turn into freezing cold at night. But each year, millions of Muslims travel to this country in order to complete a special task called the Hajj. The Hajj is a 3 to 5 day journey or pilgrimage to the city of Mecca, the holiest city in the Islamic religion. The Prophet Muhammad founded Islam in AD 622 and taught that people should visit Mecca at least once in their lives. Today, men and women from Asia, Africa, Europe, and the United States travel to Mecca each year in order to walk around an ancient symbol of their faith called the Black Stone. The first part of the Hajj begins at the Al-Haram Mosque in Mecca. Once inside, the pilgrims take time to pray before going outside to circle the Black Stone. In Islamic tradition, the stone was given to the first human being by God after the creation of the world. Muslims on the Hajj must circle the shrine where this black stone is kept 7 times. This shrine is called the Kaaba. When the pilgrims are close enough to the black stone, they can either kiss it or reach out and touch it with their fingers. After the pilgrims have had the chance to touch the black stone, they must kneel to pray in the direction of the Kaaba. Many pilgrims find time to sacrifice an animal while on the Hajj. This sacrifice helps them remember how the biblical hero Abraham made sacrifices to God for his religion. During the Hajj, pilgrims also take a traditional stand against evil by throwing stones at 3 pillars in the city of Mina. The pillars symbolize evil, and by throwing stones at them, each pilgrim is able to fight against evil in the world. The Hajj is a journey that Muslims take because of their faith. It is both a form of worship and a way to come together as members of a common religion.
So from that video you saw that the Hajj is a very sacred trip that every Muslim is to take at least once in their lifetime. And you can see a lot of people were there, and it's pretty much how it is every day. But anyway, moving forward in the notes, there are some other countries on the Arabian Peninsula. First 2 we're going to look at are Bahrain and Qatar. Bahrain started running out of oil in the 1990s, and both of them are very wealthy, though, still today. Qatar is even more wealthy today, though, than Bahrain. And the United Arab Emirates, also known as the UAE, if you remember the pictures I showed you on the last set of notes, that was talking about the city of Dubai and in the United Arab Emirates. And they have more foreign workers than its citizens. And it's basically just a group of islands, also known as an archipelago. Wait a second. We did this already, didn't we? Huh. Oops. Yeah, you can laugh at me. Go ahead. Anyway, back to what we're supposed to be doing. We're going to go look at the country of Iraq now. You might have heard of this country in the news. It's pronounced Iraq. Many Americans will try to pronounce it Iraq or Iraq, but it's Iraq. Iraq started out early on with Mesopotamia. Then they were a part of the Great Ottoman Empire, which ended after World War I, and became a colony of Great Britain. And then eventually they became an independent country. The man that you picture on the right, who looks like he's absolutely nuts, many people in the United States and in Europe felt that he was absolutely nuts. But he was the dictator of Iraq from 1979 until 2003. And he was a harsh leader who restricted personal freedoms and controlled the media. He also invaded both Iran and Kuwait for control of oil. And under his ideas, if he controlled the oil supply of the world, he basically controlled the energy of the world, which meant he could potentially control the entire world itself. But the United States and its allies intervened to prevent that from happening. That's back we were talking about 1991, Iraq invaded Kuwait. The United States and the United Nations helped out Kuwait. Iraq lost the war but refused to cooperate afterward. And the United Nations placed an embargo, or a limit on trade, during that time period also. 10 years after the Persian Gulf War, though, the attacks on September the 11th by Al-Qaeda happened, and Saddam Hussein was sympathetic to Al-Qaeda and gave them places to stay and protected them when they were in his country. However, the United States told him that he had to get out and let himself be arrested by the Americans. He fled, he was hiding, eventually he was found, arrested, and tried for crimes against his own people, and then eventually he was executed by his own people by hanging, when they still did that back in Iraq in the early 2000s. He was hung. Some more of the culture of Iraq, though. Most of the people are Arabic, or what they call Kurds. The religion is both Sunni Muslim and Shia Muslim, and if you don't remember what those are, Sunnis are able to interpret the Quran as any way they wish, but Shias believe that to properly understand the Quran, you must have a religious leader or religious teacher interpret it for you. Iraq's capital is Baghdad, and it was ruined from war, and the U.S. is helping to rebuild it. The U.S. is also part of the reason why it's so damaged because of the war, but the U.S. is helping to rebuild it. And in the year 2005, Iraq participated in a democracy for the first time. They had their first elections by the people during that time. Now moving on to its neighbor, Iran. Not Iran, it's Iran. However, back before, in the 1970s, from about 1900s until the 1970s, there was a king of Iran known as the Shah, and he was very friendly with the United States and England, gave oil for very cheap because he wanted to have good relationships with the wealthy countries, and so he sold oil cheaply. However, many people within Iran felt that he was being too kind to the West and were unsatisfied with how the Shah was running the country because he was being protected by the U.S. He was not a true Muslim leader. Then eventually the Muslim people got together behind a man named the Ayatollah Khomeini, and led a revolution, which is a drastic change in a country's government. And today, these countries no longer really get along with the U.S. and England, and there are very strict religious laws. Iran's capital is Tehran, and roughly, as far as ethnically speaking, about half of them are Persian and half of them are Arabic. Then they speak a language called Farsi and Arabic. Iran's economy and government, oil and agriculture help the economy. They practice what's called a theocracy, which is where the government is ruled by religious leaders. They have called for the destruction of Israel, which is, again, that state that is for the Jewish people, that Iran sympathizes with the Palestinians, and they want to destroy Israel. They have said that in the past. Recently, they have expanded their nuclear weapons program, also been interested in developing nuclear warfare, and that they have said in the past that they would use them on Israel if needed. The guy in the top right was not a strong ally, to say the least, to the United States. His name was Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, and he was the president of Iran until 2013, until the guy in the bottom right became president, Hassan Rouhani. And Ahmadinejad, though, the guy in the top right, did not like how the United States does not appreciate of, or does not really, I guess, want to see the world go toward American culture. And so he tried to isolate themselves from the rest of the world. But the guy in the bottom right, Hassan Rouhani, has said that people in their country should have free access to information throughout the world, has been allowing women to serve in his cabinet, which is being an assistant to himself. However, he also is a Shia Muslim priest. So you still see the theocracy is definitely a part of Iranian culture. And I believe that's all the notes we have for this time. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you're getting enough information out of this, and hopefully you wrote everything down, because again, like I said in the first video, you could use these on your Middle Eastern quiz on Monday. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Maybe this is something that'll be coming forward later on with this e-learning that you're going to be hearing about. And well, thank you very much.